I want to talk about like if you're buying a diesel truck, where to start, what's the first thing to do with it. I'm gonna try doing one of these a week. It's just gonna be like my opinions on stuff, what I recommend to people, what I do. If you have any questions you'd like to ask or whatever, feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll get around to answering them. So this week, I want to talk about like if you're buying a diesel truck, where to start, what's the first thing to do with it. Back in the day, and still probably now, the first modifications that I would do are probably an intake, programmer, and if you can, exhaust. And by if you can, I mean if your country or whatever allows delete, by all means, incorporate that in with your tuning if you like, and do the exhaust that way. But if you're doing like an older Cummins, like a 5.9 or something like that, you can just do the exhaust anyway. Um, so yeah, what I would recommend if you're getting any sort of diesel is the first thing you do after you get it all checked out is get every single fluid on that thing changed. Diffs, transmission, transfer case if it's four-wheel drive, engine, obviously, and also like coolant, brake fluid, even stuff like that. Because then you have a baseline of where everything is on the vehicle. So you know when the fluids were changed last, what fluids were used, and so on and so forth. That's the first thing I would do if I get a new vehicle, and what I recommend to people to do. Secondly, you want to start modifying it. You just got this truck, be it a common rail 5.9 Cummins, Duramax, Powerstroke, whatever. Programmer. A nice programmer will wake your truck up, save you fuel economy, or save you fuel, and also just make it run better. If you're an '06 and up Cummins and can run EFI Live or HP tuners goes to '03, I believe. By all means, that is exactly what I would run on that vehicle. HP tuners has come a long way in the past couple of years. They've kind of gone past what EFI Live is. So that is what I would recommend for a Cummins or a Powerstroke, or Duramax, like a newer Powerstroke. I mean, like a 6.7 or something like that. 6.4, I'd stay right away from those personally. But to each their own. As for like a 6-liter Powerstroke, HP tuners is pretty good for them. SCT tuners is actually really good for them as well. 7.3. There has been quite a bit of technology come out in the past few years for 7.3s as well. So there is Power Hungry Performance and their Hydra tuners. I've used a couple of them. They're very nice tuners. You can hold up to like 18 tunes on the stinking things. So, and it's all push button. So you just push it, wait for the tune to click in, and away you go. And also EFI Live for the other ones, they can get what's called a DSP5 or a CSP5 or a DSP4 or a CSP4. It is a switchable tune chip, like a dial. You just turn it to the tune you want, and away you go. For a second gen Cummins, if you're getting into that, I would recommend like a Edge Juice with Attitude. They're pretty good for them. Like a Quadzilla, stuff like that. Smarty also makes good tuning for the second gen Cummins. Second gen as in like a 24 valve Cummins, because a 12 valve you can't really get an electronic tuner for it. But if you do have a 12 valve and you're looking for in-cab fuel adjustment, Power Driven Diesel makes a thing called AFC Live. I have installed them, I have used them, they work great. What it does basically is there's a box with a max fuel and a fuel rate knob on it, and that tells your AFC housing how to fuel. It controls and regulates how much boost your AFC sees and how fast it sees it. So they've been really nice and kind of changed the tuning aspect of the 12 valve Cummins quite a bit with a P pump. If you got a VE pump, you're pretty much out of luck with doing anything in cab with it. So that pretty much covers like the tuning aspect. So as for an intake, the modern diesels, the intakes are fairly good on them for a certain amount of horsepower. The older ones, if you are tuning them, you get like an S&B intake or a Banks intake or whatever your flavor is, just as long as it's not a cheapo China Amazon one. Those things are pretty garbage. I bought a Duramax one time that had one on it, and the whole thing was just like falling apart because the plastic was junk. So that's pretty much it for intakes. Whatever your flavor is, AFE, S&B, Banks. There's tons of intake companies out there now. And as for exhaust, exhaust is pretty well the same thing. Just do a 4-inch exhaust on something, 5-inch stock tuned truck. You don't really need it. 4-inch will flow plenty for that vehicle. And again, any brand you want, MBRP, which I think are P1 race products now, Flow Pro, whatever you want. All kinds of them are there and available in the aftermarket world. Now that takes care of the intake, programmer, and exhaust part. One thing I would also add is a fuel filtration system. Fast Fuel Systems, they're who I use. I'm a dealer for them, and they have made some great products. They did have some problems with the electrical connectors back in the day, where the pins and the little Deutz connectors were too small and they would fry off and leave you stranded. So you basically just cut that out, wire it together, and you're good to go. But now they upgraded the feed harness to I think it's like an 8 gauge wire now instead of the 10 or 12 gauge it was before. It's a freaking huge wire now that there's been zero issues with them. The pumps pump a great amount of fuel. They have great filtration, and yeah, they're just a great pump. They're a great product made by a good company, and like most of the pump, if not all of the pump accessories and everything, are manufactured in North America. So, in short, change all your fluids. Very first thing you do when you get a new vehicle. Intake, whatever your flavor is. Programmer, EFI Live, HP tuners if you can, or like the older stuff, Quadzilla and power driven diesels, AFC Live. Exhaust, whatever you like, whatever you want to get, you can get that. You can get it aluminized, 304, 409. Heck, I think you can even get a polished full system kit now from a place called Polar Diesel. So, and then also a fuel filtration and supply unit. So Fast Fuel Systems, that's who I recommend. That's because that's who I've dealt with. There's also AirDog, there's Aeromotive, there's a whole bunch of other companies, but Fast and AirDog are the main ones. They've been in the business for a while now, but again, Fast Fuel Systems is who I recommend for all that stuff. So, yeah, that is just my take on what you should do if you're buying a newer, or not newer, but if you're getting yourself into a diesel pickup. The fluids and everything, that can also go for your gas pickup. That is a good place to start on any vehicle that you are purchasing. And when you're doing the tranny fluid and everything like that, it can also tell you a story on that vehicle as well. If it comes out and there's a whole bunch of clutch material on there, well, that truck has had itself a hard life or a very severe lack of maintenance. So that about wraps her up for this segment. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.